Looks like I got a new setup, and this is gonna be the new intro for the overview. Just kidding. I just want to say it's funny because this was a little bit of something I wanted to do for a while, where I have the set just around the corner from this angle. But the thing is that okay, I wanted to do something different, reorganize my room, and I got myself a desk. Which, not gonna lie, there's some things on here. It's cool that the main set can't fit in, but it's one of those. Yeah, I got this on the side, and just in case I want to do something with it or record from this angle again, I'm still trying to figure out if this is the best angle. If not, I might do something across the desk, have it just be, oh, like what the streamers just do nowadays and just record the whole thing in background so it doesn't even matter. On a side note, it's been kind of, I would say, a month too late to actually do my top 10 list, which I was in a different spot back in December, January over some personal reasons, and a couple things where I'm like, yeah, I rather just keep that to myself and not just really like put that out there because it feels like, yeah, people have time to deal with stuff their own way, and I might just truck right through it. Once I'm back to normal, I'll just get back to doing things regularly on the channel, and this is one of those times. These are my top 10 movies of 2025, most of which I've seen almost every movie of 2025. A couple of ones I'm like, yeah, I skipped out on, and mostly, if you can tell, this channel's been dry as hell with all the reviews of last year. I'll get to a few of them at some point, especially when the big movies come out, and I'm like, oh, if I want to lead up to the story or wherever the sequels or prequels are now, I might as well just talk about these movies and lead my way. So it's like, yeah, I still get a chance to talk about it. Who knows, if a couple movies I've seen, I might just do shorts of because I feel like some of them aren't worth videos, and some of them I can just truck through like, oh, I enjoyed it, and I have my little nitpicks here and there, and say, you know what, here's my review, and this is all you're getting. As of right now, these are the top 10, and I kind of do want to add an honorary top 11 because this movie, it's like, yeah, I might as well just mention it because it's something I feel like I kind of missed out the hype on. And when it was in theaters twice, I kind of did miss it out, and it was K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, getting that out of the way, let's get to the top 10. The last movie I saw last year, and I could say, what a way to start the New Year's Eve with Marty Supreme. I didn't see any trailer for this one, and funny, I saw a friend of mine watched it a week before it even released, so I thought, is the movie good? He said, trust me, man, you're gonna love it, and you gotta watch this with open mind because everything is gonna speed by you, and you gotta hear everything exactly because this is one of those movies where, yeah, if you're think you hustling, imagine hustling to this level. I don't know what that meant until I watched it, and I thought, you know what, Timothy Chalamet, I'm surprised he's one of those actors where he can diverse in every role he's in, especially where I'm like, he's one of those guys I see, but if he's in a movie, cool. He's Paul Atreides, but Marty Supreme is one of those movies where I'm like, you know what? I'm not hustling to the best of my ways, even though I wouldn't say everything he does in this movie is for the right interest, but when he gets into the zone, he's there. And funny enough, all this ping pong nonsense, I thought, oh, it's just going to be like a sports movie. And no, this is a movie where I'm like, you'll push yourself no matter how hard you want that dream. But there are a couple ways in the path where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't stoop to this low. But then again, he did it, he achieved it. And now what? He got everything, and life is what happens. I missed the first 10 minutes of this one and said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to take this for round two. And also, kind of to adjust myself because I didn't know if it was just me or the way the movie was in the movie theater, but it was a little bit too fast for me. And let me just say, for the third installment in what hopefully is a five-part movie arc, hopefully I could say whatever they got for the next one, I'm excited for it. And it's Avatar Fire and Ash. A part of me was like, is this going to be the same thing as Way of Water and the first one, just recycled into a new way, just introducing a new race of Navi? A couple things where I thought, oh, that's interesting that they explore this idea of humans actually being able to breathe on Pandora, but also the fact that, okay, we're actually doing something different, which I thought, oh, I was expecting a little bit of the same. The frame rate was a bit too fast both times I've seen it, but I don't know if it's something that either it's because it's an IMAX or I'm just watching it in 3D. I haven't watched it regular, but I don't even know if it's just because it's in those formats where the frequency and everything was moving a little bit too fast, where I thought, this reminds me of how The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey released, where everything was just fast. James Cameron has done it again, and hopefully they could actually lead to something bigger because I feel like the way this movie ended off, I'm not even sure if it is the actual ending to this because I know there's like a couple more movies in the works, but also depending on if the box office actually works out because I feel like, okay, you had a chance with the first and the second one. Number three, I feel like is the most different out of the first two, especially the fact that I look back at The Way of Water and yeah, the VFX and everything is going to be looking better until the fifth movie. So hopefully that ends up happening. And let me just say, yeah, I'm down for the Navi. It's one of those cases where I saw the trailer and I said, "This is directed by Darren Aronofsky." Okay, I didn't expect it, one of these movies coming from him, and the fact that it didn't feel like a Darren Aronofsky film, but when I watched it, I was like, "Yeah." Despite the director, I could still enjoy a good story, and it was caught stealing. Austin Butler was one of those guys where I thought, okay, he's a face I recognize from Yoga Hosers. And funny enough, when I see him in something like Dune, Elvis, even a little fan casting, I thought he was going to be Gambit at some point. Caught stealing was a series of unfortunate events, especially the fact that it had me guessing until the very end, where I kind of figured it out in the middle, but also twist after twist, it kept me on the edge of my seat. And also, I kind of did find out this is based on a book series, so if they want to continue this story, I feel like it ended in a way where I thought, okay, for the movie version, I feel like it could end here. But if they want to keep going with this, I'm still on board. There have been a couple of superhero movies coming out this past year. A few of them where I thought, okay, some were not as good as I thought it was going to be. A couple others where I thought, okay, now this is how you do a superhero movie. But this movie told me, you know what? I have faith in whatever this universe is going to be heading towards. And just all you needed was a good movie and to gain back the trust. And especially walking out this movie thinking, yeah, I'm walking out feeling like a better person. And it was Superman. It's been a long road for the DC universe lately. And hopefully, I feel like this is the next big step where I thought, okay, we have Superman in a new version where I thought, okay, is this going to be semi-realistic or is it going to be in a certain style? This movie really said, you know what, this is the DC universe as it is. You're going to accept it in the middle of a story rather than just going back to the beginning and seeing as though, you know what, this actually is the most hopeful and happy I've ever felt watching a superhero movie, and realizing, you know what, Superman is in the right hands. And hopefully James Gunn has something in mind with Man of Tomorrow, because the way he set things up for the next one in Peacemaker, it makes me wonder, you know what, I have faith in whatever corny way I want to say, it's the real punk rock. Besides superhero movies, there were a lot of Stephen King adaptations this past year. A couple of them where I thought, oh, is this really a Stephen King film? And some others where I thought, you know what? It's not truly expected to me to say, you know what? I don't expect much from this movie, even though it has an interesting premise, but also going in with such, okay, I was skeptical a bit about when I see it, but when I watched it, I thought, ooh, this is heartbreak on screen, and piece by piece, I wouldn't say piece by piece, but more step by step with the long walk. Going into this, I felt a little bit of unease where I thought, is this going to be one of those movies where it's just going to be like a long road and you're just going to be seeing death by death by death, but also seeing as though, you know what, interesting characters, especially a couple of the Stephen King tropes where I would expect, is there certain things where I'm like, okay, this is pulled from this is pulled from this is that character, this is the bully character I'm going to see in every one of these movies. Each character had their own style and reason for being there. A couple standouts where I'm like, you know what, I could see you doing something bigger. And funny enough, a couple stars where I've seen already in movies before this where I thought, you know what, they're doing well, especially seeing as though Mark Hamill is the one I thought, is he a little bit threatening when he's not doing anything besides Joker? Because he kind of did kind of scare me in this. This had me on the edge of my seat watching it, and especially the fact where I couldn't even do anything but just walk to my car all, damn, I don't feel good even after watching it. Horror has actually been on the upscale lately because I feel like it's kind of funny how most of the majority of movies last year I enjoyed were a bit horror centric, where I thought, you know what, this and a mystery, also not trying to figure out what was going on throughout the whole film, and something I thought, you know what, I think I have figured out the mystery, but it kind of zigged and zagged in a way where I thought, oh, this is not the thing I expected. And funny enough, it's one of those movies where if you watched it when it came out, it was the biggest reaction, not knowing what was going to happen, and it was weapons. After I saw Barbarian, I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those directors I might look out for whenever they do a thing. And Zach Cregger proved, you know what? A simple mystery with elements where I thought, okay, is this going to be going in order of how these kids went missing? But doing the whole, okay, so this happened here, and dealing with the story around a couple of characters in the same day where, okay, these characters interacted at some point and they all each have a factor within the story of trying to solve the mystery and what they saw. And the twist where I thought, you know what? Is this going to be the way they revealed how this whole thing happened? Where I thought, okay, somebody must have taken these kids or possibly killed them or possessed them. But the way I thought of it was, oh, someone devious in between the main cast was doing it, not realizing that there was a bigger threat behind the scenes. And an ending I feel like it's comedic in its own way, but it's one I won't even forget because it's like, oh, so we went there. And is everybody gonna be all right at some point? Because the movie doesn't really say it. I know through the ending dialogue it says, "Oh, and all the kids came back, but they weren't the same." And it just ends. I thought, but are they gonna still be all right? Apple is slowly making its way to head to the big screen, and funny enough, it's one of those studios where I think, okay, whenever they put out a project, whether it's a TV show or a movie on their service, I feel like, okay, they have all the budgets and the money to actually say we put everything into it. But funny enough, this was one of those movies where I thought, well, I'm gonna be expecting like a simple drag race, Formula One type of movie, but no, F1 was one of those movies where I said, yeah, Formula racing, that's how it should be. It's new school versus old school in a classic Formula One fashion where I thought, okay, is it just going to be a race or am I just going to be seeing something like a sports movie? But this movie said, you know what? Old school still has it. And funny enough is how racing I feel like should be shown in movies nowadays because I feel like, oh, we see car chases, but we mostly see everything from an exterior where everything doesn't feel as practical and real as it once was. The same way this director used fighter jets in Top Gun Maverick, you actually feel like you're in the actual driver's seat driving through this. And funny enough, I saw it in IMAX where they actually had like the moving chairs. Where I thought, okay, this is a little bit more intense, and I feel like a little bit of emotion as I'm watching it too. This is one of those dad movies you can actually pull up on a Saturday morning. And funny enough, it's one of those, you know what? I'll watch racing more interestingly and stuff like this than Fast and Furious, where everything turned out fake. Now that we made it to the top three, let me just say each of these have their own little experience for me in a way because I feel like, okay, not only did I enjoy these movies, but walking at the theater was a little bit of an experience after watching these. And let me just start with the first realistic movie in this list, and it's Warfare. Based on a true story, and I could just say it's kind of funny where I walked into, not even just walked into this thinking, oh, there's a couple notable faces. I see Joseph Quinn, the fact that I saw other people and stuff like, oh, there's Will Poulter, there's Michael Gandolfini, and funny enough, I thought, oh, I could see who's who. And I've seen other movies before. Everybody's gonna make it out of this, right? Not only were the first 10 minutes a little vibe before the movie even starts, but part of me feels like that was the call before the storm because the rest of the movie is one of those, yeah, this is not fun for me to watch. And the fact where I'm actually watching a realistic story about how these soldiers had to deal with escaping from one location to another. Everything takes place in this one location where I thought, okay, is this going to be one of those bottle movies? And piece by piece, my worry was, okay, are they going to make it out there? Because part of me feels like, yeah, this is one of the most realistic war movies I've seen, and there are no situations where I thought, okay, is anybody going to make it out of this alive? Because each moment scared me, and every bullet, every explosion, every scream you heard on screen was as loud in the movie theater as it is watching it on your home TV because, yeah, part of that still scares me. This one is one of those movies where I thought, okay, I didn't get a chance to watch it when it first came out. There was a lot of things in the way, and I thought my summer is already jam packed enough, and I don't want to waste it on something I feel like I'm not going to end up watching later. I caught it when they re released it again, which, funny enough, told me if this is the one chance to go see it, I might as well just go watch it. And end up turning out to be one of those, okay, not political, but also satire-ish movies in a way where I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if, based on the things that's going on nowadays, the world ends up being like this, and it's one battle after another. Seeing this movie take the political climate in a satirish way, and a couple of comedic moments from Leonardo DiCaprio, which every time he's in a movie, I'm like, okay, I'm 50-50 depending on what it is. But this is one of those, okay, is he just going to be acting like a revolutionary person? Because I feel like, is he going to be one of those guys on the run? And funny enough, watching this whole movie, it took me a couple moments when they put it on HBO Max to rewatch it to realize anything he could have done in this movie wasn't even like a big thing because nobody even knew he was around doing these things. The movie could have still happened even if he wasn't there. And a couple new faces where I'm like, you know what? I can see you doing bigger things and other stuff where I'm like, I wouldn't even be surprised if they cast you in a Marvel or DC because I'm kind of fan casting. And surprisingly funny in a dark humor type of fashion. But it's one of those, yeah, I should be laughing at this, but then part of me is like, I would laugh, but then again, this is real life, and I wouldn't even be surprised if people actually take this as serious because I thought at some point in this movie, I'm like, are they gonna be down to do that type of referencing what's going on now? And they don't do that, which is kind of a relief. Number one is a movie that hasn't even left my mind, and the impact of this movie, I could just say, you know what? Even though it got the participation category and won it, I wouldn't say, okay, you won that. You got your little chance to do it. But next year, I wouldn't say next year. It's kind of this year also. But when the Oscars come out and they actually have their nominees, this better be the winning category. And I wouldn't say the winning categories, but the best movie of this year or past year, and it's Sinners. Not only did Ryan Coogler have an achievement in doing this, but seeing as though Sinners is like, oh, okay, people would expect it to be like a vampire movie, and that was it. And oh, that's not the only thing that it has going for it. Sinners isn't just a horror movie, a vampire movie. This is a movie for the culture in the way it's like, okay, so every little detail, not just in the movie itself, but also in the music, because everything has a little bit of a backstory and history to it. The characters were great, especially the fact that we're just introduced to these people. We don't even know anything about what happened behind the scenes, but piece by piece throughout the movie, you're like, yeah, every rewatch you get of this, you feel like you gain a new piece of information. And one of the best scenes I've seen in a movie lately is the I Lied to You scene where, you know what, every little piece of culture, history, throughout the music, the way music isn't just like like music, the way I feel like people saw it, like, oh, it's just music, like, oh, this is just soundtrack music, just classic music to a song. But also seeing as though, no, what if music isn't just what you play, what you discover? It's more, what does it represent really? Because the way I thought of it was, oh, it's just music, like just regular soundtrack, and this is music from the time. But no, what if it was like a whole new discovery where this piece of music and this piece of art isn't just something you do, it's some means something more than what it is. It's a thinking movie in the best ways possible. And funny enough, I'm surprised where if any other movie wins in the category for the best picture next year, I just feel like this movie was robbed because I feel like this is more deserving of it. And that's it. Those are the top 10 best movies of 2025, in my opinion. There are a couple ones where I'm like, yeah, a few of them would be on here, but a couple of them were like honorary in this case, where a few discoveries I haven't watched, or the ones where I'm like, okay, I won't watch it until later. I get the feeling of, well, you know what? Let me just put it on. Let me see what happens. I had enough fun talking about the best movies, but the real fun comes with the worst list because yeah, there are a couple movies on that list where I'm like, you know what? I had my fair share of bad movies. Not bad movies where I'm like, okay, they're bad, but a couple of the ones where I'm like, I had high hopes for it, and yeah, it kind of sucked when it really lowered my expectations. You'll catch that in the next part of this little top 10 trilogy. So in that case, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. All my social media is down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.